Let's make some cinnamon rolls. First, we'll warm up some milk and sugar. While that's warming up, we'll go ahead and get our filling together. We've got some sugar, cinnamon, and coffee. We'll mix that all up and have it ready to go. Next, we'll pour in the yeast and let it proof for 2 minutes. While that's working, we'll go ahead and get our flour ready to pour our milk into. After 2 minutes, we'll stir up the yeast and let it proof for another 3 minutes. Next, we'll get a flour mixture ready to go in after the dough has risen. After 3 minutes, we'll add the oil, stir it all in, and pour our milk mixture into our big bowl of flour and stir it up. We'll let it rise for 30 minutes. Then we'll pour in our extra flour, roll out our dough, and get ready to fill. We'll fill it with butter first, and then our cinnamon sugar mixture. Once it's all filled, we'll roll it up, cut it, and now we've got our cinnamon rolls ready to go. Well, hello everybody. As promised, I told you I'd give you an update on my cinnamon roll business. And so we're actually going to use that today to talk about some math. So I wanted to start off with that video and tell you how math kind of plays into my cinnamon roll business. So there were several things I had to consider when I began selling cinnamon rolls, like how much it would cost me to make the cinnamon rolls versus how much I should sell them for, how many should I sell in one pack, when will I deliver them, how do I time out my deliveries to make sure everybody gets their cinnamon rolls on time while they're still warm, and doing the best route possible when delivering. So there's a lot of math that goes into that. So today we're going to be reviewing some expressions, and then in the next video we'll get into more of equations. And I want us to have this like real world example that we can actually work with when solving these problems. So let's go ahead and look at this first one together. It says Miss Oliver bought 4 bags of flour and 6 containers of cinnamon. She had a coupon for $5 off her entire purchase. Write an expression that represents how much Miss Oliver will pay when she checks out, and explain what each part of the expression means. So we've got a lot of information in this problem, and we want to start sorting this out. So the first thing I want to figure out is, what do I know from this problem? Think about in class when we would do 3 reads. The first thing we would do is summarize this. Well, this is about Miss Oliver going to the grocery store and buying things to make cinnamon rolls. Great. The second thing we want to do is figure out what numbers we actually have that we will be using in our equation. So if I go back through this problem, I see that I bought 4 bags of flour, 6 containers of cinnamon, and I had a coupon for $5 off. So those are the things that I know, and I'm just going to go ahead and write those down. So 4 bags of flour, 6 containers of cinnamon, and then $5 off, just so I remember what I know already. Now, the question doesn't really look like a question, but it says write an expression that represents how much Miss Oliver paid and explain what each part means. So our goal is to figure out an expression for the total cost. We're trying to figure out an expression for the total cost. Well, the next thing I need to ask myself is, what am I missing from this problem? If I'm trying to figure out the total cost, well, that means that I need to know the cost of the items I'm buying. So let's just say, for instance, that my bags of flour cost $2 And my containers of cinnamon cost $1. Well, if I know I've got 4 bags of flour, 1, 2, 3, 4, this is my flour, and each of them cost $2. Well, I have 4 sets of 2, which means the total cost of my flour would be $8. Now, for my cinnamon, let me pick a different color. Say I have 6 containers of cinnamon, and they each cost $1. Well, 6 groups of 1 would mean that my cinnamon cost $6. Well, now I can put that together, and I said that 4 bags of flour cost $2 each, which was $8, plus my 6 containers of cinnamon at $1 each cost $6. Now, there's one more piece of information I have, which was the coupon for $5 off. Well, if I'm thinking about taking money off of a purchase, I'm taking it away from the total, so I'm going to subtract that $5. And now I can go ahead and say, okay, 8 plus 6 would give me 14 minus 5 would be 9. So if I were actually going to solve this out, I could do it that way. But these numbers, these prices, are just made up. We don't actually know how much the flour cost or how much the cinnamon cost. Well, we have something that we use for an unknown amount, and that's called a variable. So for my cost of flour, instead of saying that's $2, I'm just going to call it F. We don't know how much it costs, but we can use a letter in place of the cost. And we're going to do the same thing for the cost of the cinnamon. We'll just call that C. Now, before, we had 4 groups to represent our flour, and our price went into each group. Well, this time I don't have a price, but I have a variable that I can put in there instead. And so I have 4 groups of F, and another way I can write that is 4F. I want to do the same thing for my cinnamon. And again, I've got 6 groups because I bought 6 containers of cinnamon. And the cost I'm going to represent with the letter C. So for my cinnamon, I have 6 groups of C. Well, now I need to add the cost of my flour, which is represented by 4F, and the cost of my cinnamon, which I've represented as 6C. And again, I still have the $5 off coupon. So I'm going to take away $5 from my total cost. So our expression that would represent this story is 4F plus 6C minus 5, where 4F is the cost of my flour, 6C is the total cost of my cinnamon, and minus 5 represents that $5 off coupon. So when we're writing and determining the meaning of an expression from a word problem, there are 3 things we want to do. First, we want to read the problem and record what information we actually know. What you should be thinking is, what do I know from this problem? Next, we want to reread the problem and decide what information is missing. To do this, we can think, what is the question asking me to find? And lastly, we want to use a variable to represent the unknown information and write an expression that represents the problem. So we should be thinking, what do I need to do to answer the question? How can I relate what I know to what I don't know in a way that will represent the problem? Go ahead and pause the video where you're at. Here are 2 practice problems that I want you to take a few minutes to try out. Remember to go back to those 3 steps that we have to help you out. All right, so here are our expressions for each of these practice problems. Now, if you are feeling good about this, you understand where the expressions come from, and you want to go ahead and try some more on your own, go ahead and skip to the end of this video to get your con practice. Otherwise, stick right here and we will work through both of these together. All right, so looking at this first one, as I'm reading it through, I see Miss Oliver charges $12 for a pack of cinnamon rolls, plus 10 cents for every mile that she has to drive to deliver the cinnamon rolls. And I want to write an expression that shows the total Miss Oliver charges to deliver the pack of cinnamon rolls. And as we're doing that, we're going to explain what each part of the expression means. So here's what I know. I know that it's $12 per pack of cinnamon rolls. I also know that it costs 10 cents per mile. And if I look at my question, it says how much does Miss Oliver charge to deliver a pack. So I'm only going to be expressing this for 1 pack of cinnamon rolls. Well, if I'm only using 1 pack of cinnamon rolls in my expression, I'm just going to represent that with a 12 for the $12 per pack. Now, I don't know how many miles Miss Oliver's going to drive to deliver the cinnamon rolls. So I'm asking myself, how am I going to represent how many miles she drove? Well, I can do this with a variable that I'm just going to call m. So if it's 10 cents per mile, I'm going to take 10 cents and multiply it by the number of miles that I drove. Now, if I'm looking for the total of the cinnamon rolls and the delivery fee, I want to add these things together. And there's my expression. Let's go ahead and look at the next one. So, Miss Oliver offers a $5 discount for anybody who orders 2 or more packs of rolls. Miss Oliver's next door neighbor, Miss Weiss, decides to buy 3 packs of cinnamon rolls and 4 packs of orange rolls. Knowing that Miss Oliver charges $12 for a pack of cinnamon rolls, write an expression that shows how much Miss Oliver charges Miss Weiss for her order, and explain what each part of the expression means. Well, like always, I'm going to start out with what I know. I know that there's a $5 discount for 2 or more packs. I know that Miss Weiss bought 3 packs of cinnamon rolls and 4 packs of orange rolls. I also know that the cinnamon rolls cost $12 each. My goal is to write an expression to represent the total amount that Miss Weiss owes. So there's a little bit more going on in this problem, but we can break it down piece by piece and see what parts are related. So I see that I've got 3 packs of cinnamon rolls, and I know that the cinnamon rolls cost $12 each. So if I think back to what we were doing earlier, 3 cinnamon rolls at $12 each will give me $36 in cinnamon rolls. Now what I don't know is how much the orange rolls cost. Well, since I don't know how much the orange rolls cost, I'm going to use a variable to represent that. So I'll just call it P for price. So the price of the orange rolls, I'm going to represent with the variable P. And I've got 4 packs of orange rolls, so I'm going to say 4 times P. So far, I've got $36 for the cinnamon rolls and 4P for the orange rolls. And the total of those would be added together. But the one last piece of information that we have is that there's a $5 discount for 2 or more packs purchased. Well, it looks like Miss Wise purchased 7 packs total, so she's definitely going to get that discount, which means we're going to take $5 away from her total. Now, I could stop here, but if I'm looking at this, I see that the 36 and the -5 are both just numbers. They don't have a variable with them. So I can go ahead and do 36 minus 5, which gives me 31. And I still have the 4P, which represents the cost of my orange rolls. So my final expression is 31 plus 4P. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed getting to hear a little bit more about my cinnamon roll business. We're actually going to continue working some of these examples in the next video. But here is your Khan Academy practice. Again, as always, feel free to ask questions either through the Remind app or on Class Dojo or in our Zoom meeting on Tuesday or Thursday. Thank you guys for watching.